Welcome to the Bluebird Paradox, a gritty MicroZine written by me, Sadhill, that explores the coexistence of light and darkness, focusing on social issues and the human experiences we often overlook, presented through various short stories, poetry, and other creative arts. The Bluebird pays homage to Charles Bukowski's poem Bluebird, which delves into themes of vulnerability, repression, and the struggle to express oneself authentically. Often, the bluebird symbolizes hope, love, positivity, and renewal. However, throughout my life, I've observed the presence of darkness where there is light, leading me to believe in a paradoxical relationship between the two. The Bluebird Paradox embraces the inherent contradictions and complexities of our existence, and seeks to reveal deeper truths about society, emotions, and the human experience. As always, thank you for being here. Please enjoy the read. Today we tackle the idea of devolution, both literal and metaphorical, through the lens of dinosaurs, their extinction, and what their story can teach us about living in the now. Inspired by my poem Dinosaur Chickens, this issue reflects on what it means to evolve, or regress, when faced with change. We'll talk about the metaphorical extinction events in our lives, the ways we cling to outdated survival mechanisms, and the inevitability of transformation even when it feels like a step backward. We'll explore how the natural world often mirrors our own struggles, and share reflections on finding strength in letting go of what no longer serves us. Plus, we'll discuss the song Fall by Lisa Hannigan, share results from recent writing contests, and I'll reveal my 2025 plans for writing my first novel or novella, which you may have a helping hand in developing. There's a lot to cover, so let's get real, raw, and unfiltered. We can't control everything, though our egos would argue otherwise. Sure, you can pick which color socks to slide on today, choose to leave early to avoid getting stuck behind that goddamn school bus again, or skirt the edge of insanity by adding 2 shots of espresso to your Mocha Grande Frappuccino. But constantly trying to predict a 100-mile-wide asteroid you never saw coming in the first place, that's impossible. Dragging along years of bitterness, anger, and worry, a huge waste of time and energy. So why do it? Why dread the things you can't control? Why carry a mountain of worry? Life is a series of lucky chances, random encounters, and risks we try to mitigate daily. We're constantly dodging self-imposed catastrophes while holding it together just enough to avoid a meltdown. Each of us is on the verge of our own mini Chernobyl, and though we try, we can't deal with it all. We can barely manage actual problems, let alone the ones that don't matter. Over time, this distress builds layer by layer, hardening into rock, becoming dead weight, a burden we carry everywhere. There are things we're simply incapable of knowing, which in the universe's grand scheme is almost everything. No one knows what the hell is happening, yet ask anyone, and they'll claim to have the answers. Ironically, even I'm sharing one below. But don't worry, it's the right one. Trust me. The reality is that few of us have even begun to notice or understand what sits in front of us at this very moment, and none of us have figured out the rest. And that's okay. That's how it should be. The human experience is meant to be simple, and all the other bullshit is just noise brought on by modernism, religion, or some other human construct. When people take on too much, they turn bitter and selfish, lacking respect and empathy for one another. They become more like machines, cogs in a larger machine, and forget what it means to be human. As a culture, we're constantly on edge, a pressure cooker left on high, forgotten. Nowadays, it feels like the world could pop off at any moment. It's only a matter of time before it explodes. But there is a solution, something that's been in front of us the whole time. Simply letting shit go, focusing on the now, and living in the fucking moment. That's it. Strip everything else away, The past, the future, the worry, and what's left is the moment. Don't care about the rest. Don't you think it's time to let the insignificant things die instead of clinging to them? Whatever happened before doesn't matter. Whatever's going to happen doesn't matter either. You'll never see it coming, nor can you control it until it's right in front of you. So why worry? Remove the stress and bitterness and enjoy what you have now. It's December. The year behind you doesn't dictate how the next one will go, if you choose it. Take this opportunity to release the dead weight, the resentments, the jealousy, the grudges, the hate, the bullshit. At the end of the day, you are the most important thing to think about. Try that for once. Make you a resolution. This month's theme is inspired by a poem I wrote in 2023 titled Dinosaur Chickens. I believe I wrote it in response to a writing prompt, Changing of the Seasons. With this poem, I wanted to accomplish a few things. The juxtaposition of letting go of small things, while using the extinction of the dinosaurs as a catalyst. I also aim to explore the positive aspects of embracing constant change and the opportunities that arise from those choices. Additionally, there's a hint of relationships and social commentary woven throughout. I hope reading this inspires your year ahead to feel less cluttered and burdened by unnecessary worry. I hope it encourages you to grow mentally and physically stronger. There's also some dark humor in it, so I hope it makes you smile. Dinosaur Chickens by Sadhill. Seasons change, much like how eyes can't stay open forever. It's science, really. Life happening between the blinks, like the dinosaurs. One day they're schlepping across the same land where you now stand curbside, comfortably sipping that frappuccino and worrying about what some nameless bitch said online 3 days ago. And one day, they're gone. Much like that junk pile melting beneath a ghetto streetlight, where trash is someone's treasure. It's between the flickers of that short-circuited amber glow where you too will disappear overnight. Seasons change. Gray skies brighten to blue. Months turn to years. Unprocessed rage boils over. And love floats away with the clouds to faraway places, only to become a storm in someone else's sky. And to them, you bid Godspeed or farewell. But eventually, fresh moisture collects above you as new seasons approach, and once again you're living in the clouds, tracing your fingers across their impossible shapes and falling in love all over again, only to loathe again. Seasons change. Lizards the size of buses devolve to the height of chickens, simply to lay our eggs. And much like them, mankind will regress too. In fact, we'll likely drive ourselves to extinction, using our own world-ending asteroids. And perhaps, just like the dinosaurs, our final worth will be reduced to the next intelligible species farming breakfast out of our asses. At least then we'd be worth something, even if it is just scrambled nutrients. Don't fret, though. Knowing all of this shouldn't discourage you. Instead, it should empower you to prioritize living your life to the fullest every day, never giving a fuck about 1,000,000 years from now. Because, hey, seasons change. So to you, I bid Godspeed and farewell. Sadhill's Music Minute. Fall, by Lisa Hannigan, reminds us to always fight to stay human, to be an individual, to keep our hair untamed, to let go of our inhibitions, to rebel, and to be wild at all cost, despite progress being a constant crawl. The song begins with a cozy guitar loop, setting the tone for the entire piece. There's a beautiful nonchalance about the rebelliousness Lisa encourages, as if defiance can exist in harmony with serenity. Lisa's voice offers a soothing whisper, an ethereal calmness that hangs in the air, even as the lyrics evoke wildness. For me, the song's key takeaway is the simplicity of stripping everything back to what truly matters, the resilience of the human spirit continuing regardless of the changing seasons. Fall perfectly captures this month's theme and the mission of the Bluebird Paradox, to let go, to live raw and in the moment, to embrace life unpolished and free. Fall was featured in Season 2, Episode 6 of the series The End of the Fucking World in 2017, and Season 5, Episode 15 of the television series The Blacklist in 2013, and is available for listening on this month's issue of The Bluebird Paradox. You can find more from Lisa Hannigan on social media by searching @Lisa Hannigan or visiting www.lisahannigan.ie. Sadhill News. Writing Battle. My story, The Roach and the Butterfly, was awarded a sensational 64 silver trophy, winning 7 of the 10 duels and ranked in the top 64 of 295 writers, or the top 22% of participants in the espionage genre. It earned a spot in the top 256 among 1,460 total submitted stories, or the top 18% in the entire contest across all 4 genres. I received 47 reads and comments during the debriefs. It was also in second place for my genre's most read and commented story. It's always exciting to have such a dedicated following and receive great feedback during debriefs. Though I asked for the bad and the ugly too, I guess it's a good sign my writing is improving when there's little to nothing to nitpick. Having nearly everyone who reads my piece enjoy it, find my world heartbreaking, and connect with Artie and Jules deeply is amazing. I'm also thrilled that so many readers have received everything I intended in this story so well. A quick note on the judging for this piece. I'll try not to sound like too much of a sore loser. That said, this is the first time I felt that I had inferior judges in the Spartan rounds. In my opinion, after reading the stories I went up against, there's a clear difference in nearly all aspects of quality and storytelling. I should have received the Sweet 16 trophy. I won't speculate as to why I think this happened out of respect for the competition and Max, the creator. Regardless of this minor ego setback, I had a good time. But I will admit I'm quite bitter about this early loss, especially on this piece, especially to those stories, especially since this is my best entry yet. Moving forward, the next battle is the 2025 Winter Writing Battle. I'm contemplating my 2025 strategy and still have not paid for anything. I may move to the pro judge rounds to avoid my above concern for the peer judge contest. Twisted Tournament. The results are in, and I did pretty damn well overall. I love all 3 of my stories, and am quite proud of them. My 500-word story, Split Rock, was the lowest performer, which still ranked in the top 40%. It also earned some trophies. 1 Most Tension, 1 Best Opening Line, and 1 Best Last Line. For anyone who knows me, that's exactly what I aim for in my writing. Despite its lower ranking, this feels like a win to me. I understand I can't please everyone, but if what I set out to accomplish in this story is recognized, then I'm perfectly fine with the results. I love the tension and the turmoil I put my character through, and had so much fun writing this piece, especially as it was another attempt at channeling Poe. For 500 words, I think it nailed it. My 250-word story, Espresso on the Rocks, killed it, coming in 7th place, and boy did it earn some trophies. 1 Best Prose, 1 Best Last Line, 3 Best Titles, 2 Most Heartfelt, and 2 Best Opening Lines. This story is being added to a noir collection I've been developing for a couple years. That same collection also includes my best story from the last Twisted Tourney, Jane, a 15th place tie. I'm beginning to think I should entertain the idea of being a noir romance writer now. My 100-word story, They Waited, performed pretty decent, considering I stretched the rules a tad and experimented with form and structure. Though I argue the abuse of extremely long titles is at least the same, if not worse. The story also earned 2 trophies, 1 Best Prose and 1 Most Tension. I will say, by the time I got to writing the story, I was burnt out, and the prompts I got were uninspiring, so I wrote it fairly quickly. And finally, Drumroll, please. My overall ranking for all 3 rounds was 15th place. And finally, I leave you with this month's new book development. Over the past 2 years, I've developed some great short stories, also some shit ones, most of them written for competitions. And at the end of each contest, I always promise myself I'm going to develop that story into a novel someday. Yet someday never comes. Additionally, many of my readers have expressed interest in my development of a novel from more than a few of these stories. I've been lazy, overwhelmed at times, and even used the excuses that I'm too busy, it's not the right time, or some other bullshit I talk myself into believing. Well, now it's fucking time. I'm finally cutting out a few contests to make room for my first self-published novella or novel, but I need your help. Please read each story summary and answer the poll found on issue 7, The Devolution of Dinosaurs, to help me decide what my 2025 novel will be. By helping, you may just receive a special gift when it's published. Wink, wink. Here are a few brief concepts or summaries of each story, but by no means are these complete. A dystopian series. Inspired by and set in the same Orwellian or Atwoodian world as The Roach and the Butterfly and A Pill to Swallow, this series will serve as my pinnacle of social commentary on a broken world, a corrupt system, and the flawed lifestyles of a near-future America. I envision this as a series, with each story following a different set of characters as they navigate various facets of the fractured world. Tentative title, unknown. Drama series. Inspired by real events and set in a world similar to Ashtray, this near-memoir series follows a boy growing up in a trailer park with an alcoholic mother, a useless stepfather, and siblings, surrounded by poverty, abuse, and abandonment, along with countless opportunities to get into trouble, get hurt, or even be killed. He faces overwhelming challenges. Yet along the way, there are people who might help guide him toward the light. Tentative title, Ashtray. Noir Murder Romance Series. Over the past 2 years, I've taken every opportunity to slip beneath the smoky veil of a 1940s speakeasy, investigate the gorgeous remains of a dead prostitutes, hide with angry wives lurking in the dark, and nearly succumb to seductresses hired to take out the trash. I've developed a handful of these stories, and would love to expand them into a series of dark, smoky murder romance novels. No tentative title yet, but you can be assured it will be good. Suspense thriller number 1. I'm not a fan of sharing my secret ideas, but at some point, I've got to trust someone, right? Might as well be you, fine folks. One story that has stuck with me for years, I've tentatively titled The Early Bird. If you're like me and love rummaging through other people's junk on Saturday mornings, hunting for treasures to stash in the corner of your home, then you might just love the idea of a yard sale thriller. But in this story, it's the uninvited early birds who show up first. You can expect a rope, a basement, a chilling backstory, and a twist so twisty that even the wife didn't see it coming, and she suspected adultery the whole time. Suspense thriller number 2. How far would you go for the one you love? For Daniel, the answer is anything. After 30 years of marriage and a lifetime built together with his wife, Janice, he refuses to let anything stand in the way of her survival. When their insurance stops covering the ongoing treatments for her blood transfusions, Daniel is forced to combine his years of experience as a maple syrup farmer with the darkest corners of the internet. His obsession with keeping Janice alive soon drives him into desperate and chilling measures somewhere in the Green Mountains of Vermont. Tentative title, Tapped. So what would you read? What would you buy? What sounds the most exciting to you, having read some of my work? Remember, you can help me decide what I will be writing in 2025 by answering the poll found on issue 7, The Devolution of Dinosaurs. Thank you in advance. For now, this book development section of the MicroZine will replace the writing challenge, as it wasn't receiving the level of interest I felt it deserved. Each month I will update you on my progress, share parts of my process when possible, and use this space to stay accountable, both to you and, more importantly, to myself. And hey, a few words of encouragement in the comments now and then probably wouldn't hurt. If you're interested in joining my beta readers team, drop a comment. Find me on social media everywhere at Chris Sadhill, or email me at chrissadhill@gmail.com, and I'll add you to the list. Now let's write this fucking book. Thank you for your support, and please leave a comment. I love hearing from you. If you haven't signed up for my Substack, please visit www.chrissadhill.substack.com to access all of my content.